Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ALEC TV live stream. We're coming to you from Orlando, Florida at the 50th annual ALEC meeting. And I'm really happy to be joined by W. Bruce Lee, but he goes by Bruce, but we add the W so as not to confuse him with
right. Well, my Asian cousin.
His better known Asian cousin.
Exactly.
Thank you. So, Bruce, you are with the Phoenix Correspondents Commission.
Yes.
Which is a mouthful. And tell us what you do there.
Well, the PCC is a 50-state body to be a form of communication among all the states with the goal of looking at policies and necessary action to balance out federal and state authority. That's our role.
Right.
And one of the big tools in the tool chest is Article 5. And one of the big issues that's looming out there before us is fiscal sustainability or integrity at the national level, which is not good.
We are not on a sustainable path right now.
We're not on a sustainable path. And a couple of big things have happened during the last year. We've been a little more formalized. We actually have our .gov identity now, which we didn't a year ago.
So what is the website?
The website is straightforward, Phoenix correspondence-commission.gov.
We'll put that on the screen.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
When they created the name back in 2017, they weren't thinking about public relations.
Right. That's okay. But what you're doing is trying to put the states in charge of getting the fiscal government to rein itself in. Is that right?
Put the states in charge. The states are the last great check and balance in our federal system. And in that regard, a crisis is looming upon us. Other new things that have happened this year, I wanted to give congratulations to ourselves as the owners of our U.S. government, is that we're going into debt by $2 billion more every day.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Our debt to GDP ratio is now well over 100%. And if you look at Social Security, we're well over 120%. And by 2050, we're at a ratio of over 200% debt to GDP, which is terrible. Earlier, you were speaking about the Swiss ambassador who had a chance to have a dinner with him the other day. The Swiss became concerned when they had a 60% ratio of debt to GDP.
Yeah. And now we're at over 100%.
We're over 100. Yeah. Social Security over 120. And just a matter of years, going to be over 200%. I mean, it's phenomenal. The debt is the largest growth portion of the federal budget, and we have 325 trillion in public and trust fund debt. If you add Social Security and Medicare, that's another 70 trillion in debt. Often that's not calculated into the figures. And our total debt now is around $125 trillion.
Which I don't think most of us can even we don't really know what that means. It's such a big number. But what can the states do? And what are you hearing from lawmakers here at the ALEC meeting?
Well, what I'm hearing from lawmakers is that a bit of a gasp.
Yeah.
And that, we really have to get our act together. Yeah. And that's probably the other big news. You know, the biggest problem I found, Kat, in working with legislatures in California and elsewhere, and especially at the federal level, is the almost total inability to set priorities.
Right.
And big numbers are just big numbers on a sheet.
Right.
And the impact of this is like, that's a little foggy in the mental conception of the whole thing. And in DC has been, hey, spend some here, spend some there, spend some everywhere. And frankly, their inability to set priorities has made dealing with the debt issue and our fiscal sustainability the number one priority.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because without with economic debt comes economic, liability. The lender is the master over the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you don't have economic strength, you are not going to have political strength. I mean, the whole thing is built upon a house of cards in that regard.
Right. So are you are things looking promising, or can you give us any bright report from what you're hearing here at ALEC?
Well, I would say this. The states are beginning to recognize their need to step up. And that's the whole purpose of the Phoenix Correspondents Commission, is to be a vehicle.
Yeah.
And now with our official .gov recognition, and it took us some months, we had to go through a lot of hoops and jumps, etc., and documentation that our 2017 convention was called correctly, and delegates had certain authorities, etc. But that gives us a great deal of credibility. And this is not as you know, not a partisan issue.
Right.
This is not a blue, red, black, green, whatever. This is a structural issue, which we have to come together on to deal with. So the majority of the states are now involved in the PCC. That's the good news. There's still more out there. The other good news is that we have our organized task groups dealing with all things Article 5, dealing with all things public state model policy in terms that we might suggest. And for those delegates that have the interest and the passion, there's a role for them there. But for those states that have not been involved yet, the train's leaving. The train's leaving. And there's a place for them at the table. And we need everybody at the table.
Right.
But we're moving ahead in the process. So that's the good news. And my big quest would be to reach out to all states. If you're not familiar, is your state involved with the PCC? Please contact me. If you want to know what your role may be, please contact me. We're looking for a representative from the upper and lower chamber of every state legislature.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate what you're doing, and we're going to wrap this up unless you have any final thoughts, Bruce.
I would just say this is a must do.
Yeah.
This is not an optional type of thing. This is a AAA priority, and the lift to be a delegate is not too heavy. You don't have to spend 20 hours a week on doing the process. So we make it easier for you to be a delegate. But the issues we're going to be looking at, and for example, right now, there is the assertion that we've reached the requisite number of calls.
Right.
And you might have been discussing that a few minutes ago, back as early as 1979.
Right.
One of the roles of the PCC is to validate that.
Yeah.
In an arm's length distance.
Right.
Our other role is to oversee an actual Article 5 convention that may be called.
Okay.
Make sure it's properly administered. And in that regard, we are the anti-runaway organization.
Gotcha.
So people can have confidence in what's going on.
You need that. Well, thank you, Bruce Lee from the Phoenix Correspondents Commission. Thanks for joining us. We're coming to you from Orlando, Florida at the 50th Annual ALEC meeting. Thank you.
And by the way, congratulations again on the anniversary.
Thank you. It's a big deal.
It is. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
We'll see you next time.